Welcome everyone. This is my channel on YouTube and I'm Zephy Davy. And this is the interview of the week. I have a very special guest that is a good friend of mine for the past, I don't know, few years from Sedona that I met her, but now she lives in Colorado. Her name is Songbird Grandmother, and she's actually Diné, which is Navajo, she's Korean, and also Toltec, which is an Aztec DNA in a sense, I can say, correct? Aztec DNA from the Aztec from Mexico. So we just wanted to let you know she's coming with us because I asked her to do this energy of the week, and I'm so excited to have her with me. She used to live in Sedona, and like me, she had to move for different reasons to Colorado because of family. And as I did the same thing to live all the way to Greece. She's not that far from Sedona though, so I'm kind of jealous about that because I miss my life there. Well, I don't know, it was almost 35 years, correct? So it's a long time to leave a home, but that's for another energy of the week. But let's talk about you, Songbird. What are you feeling about this week? And thank you for, thank you for letting me asking you to come be a part of this, because I was so glad to find you again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. As I was just tuning into the energy, what I really heard was it was a time of releasing the old stories and memories and a beginning of a new chapter. So it's almost like with this full moon, we're heading into this time where maybe old memories will surface or old things start coming up for clearing, and you might have the need to clear out old stuff, even possessions and things, and sort of this sweeping out so that we can really begin this new cycle. Because I've been saying, like, the month of April is really this new beginning. It's this chance that we're given to really go deeper into who we are and see what those triggers are and see where the healings are and release, and then look forward to the future, even though everything seems kind of chaotic around us. And I think even as a collective, that's what the chaos is it's just clearing out all these kind of old frequencies and energies and fears.
Wow.
It's a lot of fear, and we have to kind of rise above it. So I think it's a really good time to just stop everything and just tune in.
So you mean actually to really listen to ourselves and go as deep as we can, so we can really sweep out all those little corners of what the triggers are, because they hide really well within our DNA, within our system, within our cellular memory, correct? And then can just come up out of nowhere. You're like, okay, but I thought I worked on that. What just happened now?
Yeah, a lot of that. And then you'll just like have an old memory come up, or a dream will show you something, or somebody will say something, because the energy of Aries is also kind of volatile too, where it gets in there and it sweeps in like a fire. So when the fire comes, it's like cleaning house, it's purifying, and it's a good time, if you're aware of it, to just say, okay, well, why does that bother me? What is that old story? What is that old trauma? What is it really that I'm avoiding? Because we're really good at avoiding and distracting ourselves, so we don't have to look at these things.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And we think that we worked on it, and somehow we're going, why it's showing up again? And as I said a second ago, because I think it's showing up, it's not that we haven't worked on it. It's just it's kind of like pulling the root, correct? Don't you think? It's like pulling the root out of that energy and saying, okay, let me look at the root, and now I can just let it go. But you're right. The burning is the most important thing, because, this is the month of burning and letting go. Really letting go. And you do so much work with the full moon and new moon. You're a moon goddess and a shaman. And also you work with the grandmothers, the earthly grandmothers, and of course in the spirit grandmothers. And I think the more we connect to this ancient knowledge, I also believe that as really will help us, because a lot of us have gone to this, new age kind of thing. But I think the new age is not really helping a lot. because we don't have the roots of the ancient traditions, correct? And you're so ancient anyway. I'm like an ancient, I'm talking DNA, you
Yeah,
know.
well, it's like that's something I noticed. I know you've lived in Sedona, is that, you know, there's a little bit of this and there's a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's all from the ancient, but they don't ever really go deeper into it. And what I find is a lot of people get confused at some point, you know, after the novelty and the newness and, oh, I'm, you know, doing all this stuff. At some point, they will hit a wall and say, I don't remember what I'm here for. Why, you know, I don't have that root like you're saying. And I always feel you have to go back to your own ancestry, your own ancient within. And, you know, what did your ancestors, because that's your closest connection to that root. And at some point, everybody in their DNA has indigenous somewhere, you know,
Right.
whether it's Europe or North America, South America, wherever it is, and at this time, especially in America, we're all mixed. And so we have so much that we can tap into, but if we're too busy looking over here and looking over here, it's like we don't get it in here.
Right.
And, you know, when we know and understand the root of who we are and we're planted in that, then no matter which way the wind blows outside of us, we're not, you know, we don't topple over. We don't
That's
just
true.
fall down and say, oh. And that's when you fall down, is because you don't know who you are. You don't know who your ancestors are. You don't know the trials and the things that they went through so that we could be here. Because actually at this time, it's an amazing time to be here.
Agree. I keep saying that, and people laugh at me. I'm like, I feel so lucky and actually very happy to live in this kind of time that's happening. But also, you know, the indigenous people to me is not just the Native Americans or the native, you know, from Mexico, the ancient people, the Aztecs, but I think also every part of the world has indigenous. What I mean by that is ancient traditions. You know, you go to the Druids, you go to the ancient Greeks, you go to the ancient Chinese, you go to the Japanese, you go to the Tibetans, you know, Indians, you know,
Everywhere.
Africans, you know, it's like everywhere. And we do have a little bit of each in there, because we also, it's not, I think it's not also our DNA, it also is our soul. Our soul really remembers all the lifetimes that we have lived. And can you imagine clearing also those really tough energies? Because we also clearing that, I feel, this lifetime. We're not clearing just, you know, I'm Zephy from Greece or you are from there. We're clearing, you know, Zephy from thousands of years ago and songbird grandmother from thousands of years ago. I've been kind of thinking about that and kind of contemplating on it for the past month, you know, since I
Yeah.
came back from Egypt. Actually, that was in February, end of February, I came back from Egypt. I've been contemplating on that. It's, don't you think that's amazing to kind of see yourself so ancient that all this stuff is coming up for you to clear lifetimes and lifetimes of whatever you need to clear. You know, there's no judgment of where we need to clear. It's just lifetimes of that.
I know, isn't it something that we just repeat these patterns over and over and over and over again? And like, I used to do a lot of past life readings for people, and the whole purpose was, it was because what's going on in this lifetime that you still hit that wall with, you know? And I had a client one time, she had a dream about a book. And every day in her dream time, she would go to a different chapter of the book, until one day she woke up and she realized that all those chapters were everything that she was going through in her life now. And how ancient it was. Like, it was like lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and she was still hitting that pattern. You
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely, you know, and all the work that I done, spiritual work that I've done for 30 years in Sedona, even personally, I said, every experience I'm having, it's a lifetime that I used to live, and now I'm clearing it. You know what I mean? I really, but I'm contemplating. It's interesting. This is coming up now for me, you know, like, and I'm sure it's happening for a lot of people, to contemplate not just our life now, but to contemplate what happened to us in previous lifetimes.
Yeah, that's powerful, because you know, even like the dynamics you have with certain people that you've known in those previous incarnations that you're now like playing out again, and why you're stuck together, You know, like some people, it's like you can't part even though you want to part, and things are, you know, there's all that karmic friction.
Yes.
And then there's also on the other end, like dharma, like where people come together because of your purpose. And like, who knows, like even our karmic connection and dharmic connect, you know, like why at this time we're kind of being called back to that ancient, because it's time. It's
It
like
is.
it's a soul memory.
It is, because, you know, it's kind of like you know, when I first moved to Sedona 30 years ago, I felt that I found my family, correct? Like, but it wasn't my, you know, my daily family, you know, my mother, my father, my cousins, whatever. It was my family, it was my soul family. And now moving back to Greece, I'm rediscovering here also my family and my soul family here. So it's kind of interesting where things take us, you know, in this path when we're ready to clear everything that we have, you know, done in all the lifetimes, and also clear this lifetime with that in memory, you know, remembering the past and waking up. That's the key. I think we're just waking up.
Stay awake, you know, stay awoke. But I think it's also interesting, like that dynamic of like being called like home, because like you're in Greece and I'm being called in my Colorado, and it's kind of the place where you're born.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought that was an interesting connection we both had, is that we're being both called to places that we were born to be, like you said, with our family, but also our soul family, and to bring what Sedona gave us.
Absolutely.
Because she gave us so many gifts, like just Sedona in general. I've always said, like, when people go there, you receive this energy and then you go back home and you give it out. Like she's constantly giving. You receive it and you give it, but you're bringing something that's not where you know, where it's needed. It's like a medicine.
She sends us away. It's like medicine,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like the medicine bag, correct? In the Native American tradition, in the shamanic tradition, that you take your medicine bag wherever you go. Wow, that's big. You're right. I never thought about that. There is a medicine bag that we carry. So, oh wow, I just getting chills. Our bodies is the medicine bag of all the experiences. Wow, Songbird, thank you. My goodness, that is so amazing.
I know, it's amazing. And like the issue is, like, especially with a beautiful place like Sedona, we get attached.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like get attached to this beauty and this memory and this feeling. And like Sedona, I always said, is like a meeting place. It's like you get to meet the people like you've always wanted to meet, and you get to have these experiences on the land and with like the energies and the grandmother energy. And then there comes a time where she says, okay, baby bird, you gotta go. And I, you know, that's the hardest part, is the letting go of that beauty. But then there comes another time where she says, okay, now you can come back. And I think that's the beauty of Sedona, is like so many people come and go, come and go, come and go. And she's always just like welcoming too. I mean, sometimes she's, you know, if you resist it, she's like, okay, you really got to get out of here. But if you gently let go, like in your process and in my process, it's like a gentle letting go. She's like, okay, but you'll come back when it's time, and you'll bring people to these lands, to the sacredness, to the ancient. And I think that's really why the calling is like that. Is like you come in and you come out. It's like a breath.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because I feel, you know, with this ancient tradition, it's really much here in Greece also. And, you know, it's time to bring that, you know, that wake up, like, because a lot of us had wake up calls in Sedona. You know, she just kind of gave us what she needed to give us to wake us up for, you know, as many years a lot of us lived there. And I never thought I was going to move, you know, ever. You know, it was like forever, but she let me go so gently and so easily. And she said, it's time for you to let go now. And then of course you'll come back, but let go and bring the knowledge to wherever you are in Europe, and you are the medicine bag. Wow. That is amazing. So it's kind of interesting with this letting go, we also become a medicine bag, because we keep that beauty, that the knowledge, the gifts that we have received with all our experiences.
Yeah, and then the medicine bag is just the outer representation of the inner. So like usually the first thing you put in your medicine bag is the soil from your sacred place, like a mountain or where you're born, you have that soil. So that's the first medicine, right? And then all the most meaningful collections, you know, like they're just little representation. It could be a berry, it could be a rock, it could be a whatever, but it's just that energy, that medicine that you are inside of you, like the experience, right? Because as humans, we need the inner experience and we also need the outer reflection of it. We need the physical, the spiritual and the physical. And I always tell people it has to be physical too.
Yes, yes.
You can't just have these spiritual things and not have a physical thing too.
And not to be grounded, because I think also grounded when you're doing the work is very important. And to bring the soil from where you're born, it definitely represents your body, definitely represents your DNA or from your special place, correct? But can you imagine if your medicine bag is your body? Wow. To me, that's big. That's
Yeah,
big.
and that's the ancient teaching, is that you walk in beauty.
Yes.
As you have beauty behind you, you have beauty before you, you have beauty beside you, you have beauty everywhere, and you're the center of that. And the beauty is also like peace, it's harmony, it's balance, it's joy, it's all the gifts that you're offering to this world, and they don't usually come easily.
So that's why it's important for us to let go what doesn't serve us anymore, what triggers us, because we got to start walking in this beauty. And, you know, the Native American saying for me when I lived there is my motto is walk your talk. It's like just that, you know,
Yeah.
so powerful. But walking beauty too, it's so amazing. It's so, thank you. This is really beautiful. Anything else you want to say about the full moon? And we can, because, you know, it's today and tomorrow, I think, you know, in the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's a good time to go into your root, like we're talking about, and to see what it is you're ready to let go of. And by the end of the month, we have another new moon. This is the only month like we're having two new moons and we're having an eclipse. And in the Toltec traditions, the eclipse will either bring you to your greatest fortune or misfortune. So you have to do your rituals, you have to do your ceremonies, you have to do something to honor that eclipse so you can catapult to that next star, so to say, you know, so that you're not stuck.
Yes.
And I think that's the grandest thing we're offered this full moon, is like that opportunity that we can just release, let go, purify, cleanse, get clear. And then by the next new moon, it's like we can have a direction to go. But you have to first let go of this direction to have a new direction.
Right.
And be creative. This energy of the 2022 is about creativity, because we're faced with a lot of problems. And the only way to overcome your problem is to get creative and think in a new way, and to get into the collective, to meet other people, to, you know, brainstorm, to help, to solve. It's like a puzzle piece. We all have different pieces. You have a piece in Greece, I have a piece here in Colorado, there's a piece in Sedona, there's like all these pieces of us.
Yeah, everywhere. You're
That
right.
come together to form a new piece, because we are on the precipice of a whole new life. Like in the Tonopoali, which is the Toltec calendar, we are 2 years shy of a new fire.
Okay.
And a new fire is a 52-year cycle. And by the end of this 2 years, we will enter a whole new beginning.
Ooh, I love it. I'm ready.
And, you know, it's like everything will change. Every system that we're in right now is going to change, but we're the change. You know, each one of us has a part of that change, and we decide what part we go. It's like we said earlier, it's a soul memory. You don't even have to know it. Like everybody gets caught up in the how.
Exactly.
How do I do it? What? I don't know what it is. I don't know. And it's like, you don't have to, you just go in and your how is in here.
And if you be guided, that's the key. If you go inside, the guidance is in there. And it's like, you surrender to whatever it is of the outside world, surrender to that, or to you inner self, surrender, and the guidance is in there. For me, that's very important. And a lot of people say, surrender. What do you mean surrender? No, it's not surrendering, like giving up everything. It's surrendering your knowingness. Just say, I know, and I'm surrendering to that knowingness, and to me, that's a big key.
Yeah. And I think that's another point I get a lot is like when you say letting go, people say, well, that's so easy to say, or how, that's another how do I let go? And it's like there's no how to it. But I think the biggest word is forgiveness with it too. Is the problem is like we get so attached to it. And the biggest person we're forgiving is ourselves. It's never the other person. It's always self-forgiveness that's the hardest, because we're the hardest on ourselves. Nobody else is harder on us than us. And I think that's the beauty of this moon, is that we have that opportunity to really forgive ourselves, to release, to go deeper, and to really think about in the next 2 weeks, like, what is it really I'm here to do, and my part, and how can I take that first action step, like you said, walk the talk, because otherwise you feel like a fraud. You'll just be like, I'm letting go, and you're not letting go of anything.
And it's so important to just create your original, the remembrance of your medicine bag, the remembrance of that. And maybe this, full moon, just write down what you want to let go, and make it easier for you, and just release it on paper. I think sometimes, I give that advice to my clients and to my students, because I think if you write it, you get it out of your DNA, you get it out of your cell memory, just there's some kind of clearing. And then, if you want to burn it on the fire, you can, but just write it. Don't look back at it. Just let it go. That's another easy way to let go. But can you imagine creating your medicine bag within your body? That's a whole other... We're going to have a conversation about that, because I'm like so excited about it. I know how to create my own medicine bag, but to just the realization of my body being the medicine bag, it's kind of powerful. And this new moon full moon is an amazing for that, I think.
Yeah. And I think, what you could start with is just collecting like maybe 5 objects that represent each part of your organs.
Very nice. Yes.
Your heart, your liver, your spleen, your kidneys, and like, you just see what does each organ do, and then what is that medicine, because that's also connected to like the ancient Asians, like the Chinese medicine and Korean medicine, is that every part of your organ is so sacred and part of your medicine, and what you store in those organs, like
there's energy stored in each organ. Like your stomach is your digestion, so maybe you're not digesting the energy very well. It's not that you're not digesting your food, is you're not digesting your energy. So yeah, its organ has an energy behind it, and an emotion.
Yeah, the emotion and the physical and the spiritual and the knowledge part of it, like that's what we call the medicine wheel too. And so if you know your medicine, and I think that's even like the Oracle of Delphi is like, know thyself. That's the first thing with spirituality. People ask me all the time, how do I connect more to my intuition? How do I connect more to spirit? It's like, first you got to know yourself.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's the first key on the Delphi. Yeah, on the Delphi.
Yeah. And that's the same with the medicine bag. That's the whole point of it, is to know yourself. So when you know your medicine, your body, your spirit, every experience you've had, then you can be the medicine.
Yes.
Because then you'll know what you cure. If you don't know what you cure and what you do and who you are, it's hard to be medicine.
You're absolutely right. Because as been doing this work for many years, I always said, look at your body, it's body, mind, soul, correct? That's what the ancient Greeks always said too. And it's always, now though, just bringing it into, we have so many experience for so many traditions. Sometimes we lose ourselves to a lot of stuff, but also, because we know so much, we've done so much and we have heard so much, and that's why people get confused. But just to bring it in our perspective by body, mind, and soul, and a medicine bag, and take 5 things that represent your organs, and do like a little bit of meditation on it, and just know, that is pretty powerful. But wow, this we're going to talk about the medicine bag another day.
Yeah, the medicine bag is pretty powerful. And I think when you understand it and then you work with it and you know it, and like you said, that it's you,
Yes.
it's not this thing. Because I think a lot of times in spirituality, we get really attached to things.
Like,
oh, this crystal, this sage, this, and this, that. You don't need any of that.
Right.
You are the medicine. Your body is the medicine. Your speech is the medicine. Your vibration, your aura, all that is the medicine that you're offering this world. And I think our ancestors knew that the best.
I agree.
They knew that the best, and they walked it.
Yeah.
They, like in our native traditions, the elders and medicine people, they're quiet. They actually don't say much. You could be falling off a cliff and they'll let you fall off the cliff.
That's absolutely true. Because they let you have your experience. They want you to have your experience, whatever that experience is, Mm-hmm. And I always tell, my students, because, being a healer, I always said to them, you can walk into a room and heal others, but first you got to heal yourself, and not by touching them. You don't heal by touching them, just by being, inside of you being healed. And then you walked in and your energy, you hear a lot of people saying, well, I feel really good next to you. Well, there's a reason for that, correct? There's a reason for that.
That's
because
the
you've done a lot of your healing yourself.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be flashy or anything. Like most real healers, they might even look homeless, or like you would walk right past them, they're a farmer, they're whatever, and you wouldn't even know that you could feel it. Exactly. You could feel it because of the deep peace that they have within themselves that then just radiates out. And a real true ancient healer is like, unless you ask for help, they won't intrude. They won't intrude in your space. They won't do anything. But just being, like you said, in that vibration already is healing, because it's actually a part of yourself that you're tapping into that is just that reflection.
Yep.
Yeah. And so,
well, on that note,
I think that's the message for this full moon is we are the medicine.
We are the medicine. Absolutely. We are the medicine bag. I think that is the message. It's because it's a very powerful message. And even for me, I just saw it in a different perspective. I do have my own medicine bag, and now I feel like you brought this whole, us having this conversation, we brought this whole thing into I don't know, closure and understanding, and just a full package about it. Because, as we know, we don't really talk about this energy of the week before. We just kind of download information as we're sitting across from each other on Zoom.
We didn't talk about medicine bags.
No. Anyway, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank everyone so much for watching us. And we'll come back to you next week with another one. Namaste. Take care.